Hello and welcome back to the Viller Filler Podcast. I'm here as always with my good friend Dan Wiseman. Dan, Paris Saint-Germain 3, Aston Villa 1, and as we were saying off air, mate, I think a totally different podcast was, about to be bestowed upon the wonderful listeners up until that 92nd minute final nail in the coffin from Nuno Mendes. It's a shame because it really puts a real serious downer on what probably was as good of a performance as we could have hoped, being
Yeah,
2-1 down.
I thought we were pretty incredible. Like to keep it to 2-1, but not just like 2-1. It didn't really feel like we were like clinging on. Like it did still feel that like we had intent when we went forward, and there were still chances, late on where we were desperately trying to, carve out an equalizer. I thought generally when we had the ball, we were good with it, like considering the press that we were up against, and this like a serious word for PSG. That's as good a team as I think I've seen, mate. Like that lot are a nightmare. A nightmare. I'm being fully serious when I say like there's not too many teams I've watched that are that scary when they go forward. And they're bringing guys like Bradley Barker off the bench, who has 33 goal contributions this season. 33. And
Yeah.
like he's bringing them off the bench. And when you can put your left back through a goal in the 92nd minute and he drops the 10R, drops the keeper and lifts it into the net, like what chance do you have? This lot is so good. They sacked off Marco Asensio, who's like walked into our team and become our best player. Like this lot are a genuine freak show. It's amazing, like what they've been able to put together. Pro Stadia, we did such a good job to keep like Dembele out of the game so long. But you've got to pick your poison because Desiree Doué is like he's amazing. Pro Scalia, like gave like particularly down our right hand side, the guy's nightmare. It's like all night long. If that's how you go out the Champions League, then you've got to tip your hat to it. It leaves the door ajar. An early goal at Villa Park, and you're within it. You're in with a shout, but that's what it has to be. That's what it has to be. Like we have to get a goal early on to keep us in this game. If they go and get the first goal, you got to feel it. It's curtains, and it's such a shame because 2-1 was such a nice. You'd almost kind of go into the Villa Park late, not confident, but you feel pretty optimistic, all things considered. And it's such a shame we're so close to City. Walking out of Paris with a 2-1 defeat, which I think given everything before the game, was probably about as good as you could have expected.
I think the thing is as well, like individual quality aside, PSG obviously phenomenal team, but like the two goals they scored, they were unbelievable. They were, and I'm not downplaying that or the meaning of them at all, but like the fact that we're restricting them to those kind of chances, like that, I think that's what's ultimately like the biggest sort of compliment to us and our performance. I mean, that first Desiree Doué one is just unbelievable. Like you can say Emmy needs to know where he is because he seems to be in no man's land. But even if Emmy was tracking that right from the beginning, there's no chance he saves it. It's a wonderful goal from Doué. And then, the Kvaratskhelia goal, if you're being really harsh, you don't want Axel to be turned inside and out the way he was so easily. But it's a freakishly good goal, mate. The fact that he finds the post so high and he manages to squeeze it in from there outside. He's gone on the outside. It's an unbelievable finish, and we can't. It'd be wrong of anyone to expect Emi Martinez to have saved either of those chances because I think that they were just absolutely wonderful goals that were scored. And yeah, I mean, like when you go 1-0 up, it's you're giddy, aren't you? You're in Wonderland. Like Morg's 14th goal of the season. I'm pretty sure I said at the start of the season 20 goal contributions from this guy at all comps. Well on his way to that with, plenty of games still left to play. The goal was it had to be a perfect goal like that. And I think it's almost you know, symbolic of how we've been since Emery's come in. You know, everything was executed perfectly. John McGinn, to people who've been writing him off, I mean, like especially in recent weeks, I find it absolutely mental. Like he's not had the biggest role to play, albeit, but he's come in, he's stepped up, he's crucial in winning that tackle. The pass out to Marcus Rashford is just absolutely beautiful as well. Obviously, you've got Ali McCoist on commentary, just absolutely creaming himself over it. You can understand with him being a fellow jock, but you know, the way that Tillemans was able to make that sort of second man run. How many times have we said like we've needed that this season? The cut back to Morgs is just amazing as well. PSG at all shapes. It's a wonderful goal, and it that's what's giving me hope, mate. I don't think that this tie is done and dusted, but I don't know about you, but like the chat, like obviously, I know like with what we do, and you know, just our love for football anyway, we're always watching whether it's the Champions League, the you know all these top teams in their domestic leagues as well. Like, you know, I've seen a lot of PSG in my time, but you it's so hard to like fully appreciate and get a grasp of how good these teams are until you see them play against your team. And I
Yeah,
thought that with Juventus, I thought that with Bayern Munich, they same with PSG, they all move the ball so quickly. And I think, you know, we kind of spoke at times this season about how um you know, I mean, like the Juve game wasn't great, and it was a game that we should have really won, to be fair. But like, like even like a Juventus at like a 6, 7 out of 10, which is you know realistically about what they were when they rocked up to Villa Park, and the same with Bayern Munich as well, are just unbelievable. And PSG are on like a totally different level to that. Um, I kind of got similar. I don't know if you watched the game, mate. I was at Celtic Park for Celtic v Bayern. It kind of felt I got those kind of vibes in this game. Like Celtic, very good sides. You know, definitely better than a lot of people give them credit for. I've seen a lot of Celtic this season, so you know, with all due respect to people who are going to come in the comments and say Scottish League shit. Like I know what I'm talking about when it comes to Celtic, but Bayern Munich were just on a totally different level all night, and no matter how organised or compact Celtic were, but the pace of that game was too much for Celtic to handle, and the way how clinical. Do you remember that Elise goal, mate? It was just a joke,
yeah,
scoring right before half time, and like Celtic competed in that game in the same way that we've competed in this game, and you know have made a really good account for ourselves. But ultimately, these top teams have the elite talents, and that's what makes the difference in these games. Like you say, mate, they've thought nothing of letting us have Asensio on loan, and you know, even talk of there being like a 15 million euro like deal being done in the summer. He's our best player. He's our best player. So it's like there's levels, and it's just frustrating that with that Nuno Mendes goal at the end, that I feel like we really let ourselves down there in that final minute of the game, because it's 2-1's respectable. 2-1 flatters us. 3-1, it makes it look like we've been dicked about, and I can't sit here and say that that's what happened in this game, because I thought we were resolute and almost executed flawlessly despite the conceding the 3 goals.
mate. The goal that we, you know, the goal that we constructed had to be perfect, and it was like we put that together brilliantly, and we have that moment, and I don't mean for this to kind of come across as Tim Pot, but you know, if you, I think like maybe before they had their first few fights, I think if you ask most people in Birmingham tonight, like that you're going to go out to these boys probably over the 2 legs, but you're going to get a moment, you're going to take the lead, like it's going to be 1-0 to Aston Villa. I like we'll have that goal to watch forevermore. Everyone would have taken that. Like it was a beautiful goal that we put together. It really, really was. And like you're right on the goal that we concede, mate. Like it's a you know they were kind of on co-coms, like giving a bit to Rogers, saying he should have done better for the first. Like get out of town.
Yeah, sure.
Seriously. Like I do agree that Rodgers probably helped Due in a way. And because he gives him that little nudge, I think it knocks him off balance, and it means that he's kind of off balance, which puts this really bizarre trajectory on the ball. Like I've never really seen a goal go in like that. Like it kind of looks like it's kind of like going up, and then it's got this wicked drop on it, and it dumbfouls Martinez. It kind of like crashes off the bar, and it's like he's kind of been helped, I think, by Rodgers like pushing him slightly backwards, and it's got this kind of dip on the ball. And so, like, what can you do? The Kvarat a goal, man. Like, seriously. You show that goal to any neutral, and then I'm bearing, oh, Axton, the Sassi's been done easily there. They're marveling at this amazing footwork. He's dropped the shoulder, come inside, come outside, crash one in off the near post. So high that Martinez is never getting there. And you kind of just go, hey, yeah. But we scored a goal that was every bit as good, and I do fundamentally believe that. I thought to a man that we were excellent tonight. But yeah, like you can see the levels. You absolutely can, Nate. Like we were running up dead ends. Players who, you play someone like Boomcar Kamara or Yuri Tielemans, particularly those guys in the middle who nothing phases them on a Saturday at 3:00. You can put 2 or 3 men around them. They'll wriggle out, reap up on the ball, pass it out wide, calm as you like, happy days. But like those boys that lost tonight, they were just like in the middle of it. It felt like we were playing in a game that was at like times 10 speed at some point. Like you would just get the ball and they'd be like, it's an old cliche to use, but it felt like they had like 12, 13 men on the pitch at times. Like you just couldn't play through it. When they got the ball, there were so many different options. And they kind of get into those wide areas. And, say you've got like someone like Kvaratskhelia, or Hakili, coming in, and you've got Dembele dropping up 12 yards out. You've got someone like Desiree Doué making a run past the fullback. You've got the other winger, Kvaratskhelia, if they're coming in from the right-hand side, coming in the far post. And then you feel like you've got your options covered because we defend that quite well. But then there's Matinha lining up on the edge. Like, you know what I mean? Fedian Ruiz is coming in from 25 yards. And you're like, what do you have me do in this situation? It's crazy. And yeah, like it shows the levels. And we said this, like when Asensio and Rashford first came into the team, it was like, this is what it takes. Like, you can't have one of these boys. You've got to have a leg of them. And I do believe, we've got a goalkeeper that stacks up to that. I think we've got a centre half that stacks up to that in Ezri Konsa. But it just shows that, yeah, there's so much more that you need. And, we've got a good bench. But, they're bringing guys like Remy, Gonzalo Ramos off the bench. You honestly, like, I didn't think when I sat down to record this podcast, I would feel like this. I've gone over it so quickly. Like that team is amazing. It is genuinely amazing. It's as good as we've seen. They made a mockery of Liverpool who run away with this, And the scary thing is as well, is they will come to Villa Park and play the exact same way. This is not going to be a game where just because it's at Villa Park, we suddenly decide at 65% possession, we have to make it work. Like they will come and play exactly the same way. It will be another 90 minutes of that. And we have to do exactly what we did. We have to be the ones that score first. Only this time, we'd have to score again and then again. And it's a big ask. Villa have done some crazy things. And hey, I'll wake up on the day and be absolutely convinced we can do it, I'm sure. But this team were excellent. Luis Enrique is an amazing manager. What a job Unai has done to get us here. And it's that team that we go out to, hey, Adelaide.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that like this PSG team like goes on and reaches the final, if not wins it, right? It's like I think this like Arsenal, unbelievable second half last night, but it was really like it was the 2 Declan Rice free kicks really that does it and really sinks Madrid. This PSG team absolutely takes Arsenal to the cleaners, I think. And yeah, it's like you say, they've sold Neymar, they've sold Mbappe's gone, Messi's gone, and the rebuild has been like unbelievable. You go and get Desiree Doué, one of the best players in Ligue 1 at Rennes last season. Ousmane Dembele finally living up to the potential that we've know he's had for the past 7 odd years. Fabian Ruiz, player of the tournament in the Euros last season, arguably. Kvarat Kvaratskhelia, like they've gone and signed one of the best wingers in the world in a January window Like this guy's consistently been one of Europe's like premier attackers. Fullbacks, unbelievable. Donnarumma, like penalty shootout king. Neves, Vitinha, unbelievable talents. Like, you know, around 24, 25, 26. So like so many years ahead of them. And it's like that's what you're competing against. And as proud as I am of these boys and as much as I love this team, John McGinn started for Villa in the Championship. Ezri Konsa signed the first season we came into the Premier League. Jacob Ramsey, Academy product, been around since that same time. Matty Cash signed in the second season. Emi Martinez signed in the second season. Morgan Rogers recently put from the Championship. Obviously, meteoric rise, but there's not that same kind of. I don't want to say quality. I think pedigree is probably the right word. And listen, it takes time to get there. It takes time to get there. I just think that if we're going to get something from this next leg, it has to be quick. It has to be fast. And, you know, hopefully the fact that there's probably a little weight off the shoulders now, considering we've got 1 foot out of the competition at the moment, maybe that plays in our favour. I don't know. But we've got a game against Southampton at the weekend, mate, which, you know, I'm sure we'll be talking about that at some point. But yeah, it's a shame that it's like this. That was the longest 90 minutes of football ever. I never thought 90 minutes would pass as slow as it did. Sometimes these games just fly by. Not when you're playing against these top opposition, that's for sure. But it's you know, we've had our nose bloodied. Still plenty of pride though. Still plenty of pride. Still all to play for in that next leg. So guys, we'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Let us know your man of the match. I think it's fair to say it's probably someone like Emmy, to be fair. Emmy, maybe Morgs. But yeah, we'd like to know that in the comments. And if you haven't, make sure you subscribe. Up the Villa.